right, it is 6:30. Welcome to the November 15th Blockhouse Mud meeting. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we have 30 seconds of silence. Thank you. Okay, before we get into citizens communication, does anybody need to move anything around on the agenda? We are going to go into executive session for 5A. So I'm going to move that after legal or before legal, right around there. How's that? And then maybe we can actually go ahead and move 32 and 33 before we go into executive. Let's knock that out. Okay. Citizens communication. Do you have any citizens like to communicate? Yep. Okay. Consent items. Do I have a motion to approve the October 25th minutes?
Motion.
Sorry, second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. A report from VHC, Ms. Martin. You guys do that every month.
It's our maintenance. So October was really busy, as probably most of you know, and thanks to the rain, it was really busy. The rain came the middle of October, right in the middle of it, or the end of our pumpkin patch, which was very successful, but it did stop us from getting everything out. It was all wet, and we didn't want to tear up the turf, and the fence company was behind, so it was kind of a perfect storm, so it didn't get out as quickly as it normally would. It's the first time that it's happened, and we obviously hope it won't happen again. That was the pumpkin patch. Disc golf, I understand, was a roaring success, and there are more full moon disc golf events planned. We have a new board member, Cynthia Langdon, was elected on Saturday. She replaced Taylor Mungia, who's chose not to run again.
She'll be a great addition.
Yeah, she will. She's like the other people on the board, I noticed, on our board.
Yeah.
Christmas, the only things we have left, we have our food drive in November and December, where any needy families or any families that are struggling to provide food in their homes, once we get their name, we provide a meal for Christmas and Thanksgiving. So if you are aware of any families that might need a little extra help this season, please let me know. It's getting time for Thanksgiving and December. I don't have exact dates. I think the date for Thanksgiving is next week. Next week's not Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yes,
it
it
is.
Next
Okay,
Thursday.
so it's tomorrow.
The deadline
is for Thanksgiving,
Oh, okay.
but for Christmas, it'll be a little further along. And then we have the Christmas decorating contest, December 16th. And it is for, all of our events are for everybody in the neighborhood. We don't do just OA or just the mud side of, or part of the mud. It's for everybody, so if you could pass that word along in case people don't know. For the Christmas or Christmas and Halloween decorating, you have to be nominated to be judged. So there's that. Robert, we will try to get the website done, despite no fire. And I think that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Thank you,
I
Sandy.
don't think so. Thank you.
Oh, I brought my own drink.
Oh, I was almost gonna ask you, do you need some water? Okay, number 4, Deputy Lovato.
Nothing really to report, since we had this meeting moved up a week. I haven't got the reports back from the first half of November, but nobody's contacted me with any issues. I think the only one thing that I did see was the baseball field timelines, now that the time has changed. it's getting darker quicker. They haven't had any issues with the baseball people. They kind of just linger in the parking lot. Once they see us roll in, they usually leave. But I don't know, maybe pushing that information out to the coaches and stuff, saying, hey, they do close at this time, even though time slots are this time.
Okay,
But the deputies didn't have any problems with them.
great, thank you.
Fantastic. One of the things that I've asked from the reports for how many hours were patrolled over the month. You got that ready this month, or we'll do it next month?
No, I guess I misread your email. I thought you said we'll talk about it more in the subcommittee, so I.
Okay, yeah, no. So in December, and the reason I want to do that is just so the residents know, hey, we're being patrolled an extra 100 hours or 40 hours, and sometimes unmarked police cars, sometimes, and they'll be marked, and that'll help residents feel secure that Williamson County's taking care of us.
But isn't the daily says the time slot on here?
It has the time slots on there, but it doesn't have the, if it was unmarked or marked vehicles.
But
And-
does that matter? I mean, I don't think that's that important.
Well, I think the feedback we're getting from residents, and we've had for a while, is that Wilco's not here. And you guys are here all the time,
Yeah, we
but
can
they're
tell
not
from
gonna
y'all's
see them
reports.
if they're unmarked. So I think you had, was it 87 or 47 unmarked hours? Something like that.
I can't remember what I said to you
Yeah.
guys.
So it's just another way to let residents know.
That they
This
are
past
being,
we don't
month,
need
we
to
had
have them.
120 hours, 47 more unmarked. It's just so that they know that.
To explain why they're not seen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and maybe if we just pushed out that they are here, you just may not know they're here instead of having them looking for unmarked cars. I mean.
Well, they're never gonna know what the unmarked
Yeah,
cars.
So-
and I think like if you put out hours to them, they'll be like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, because they're not gonna know the deputy's time log sheets, or they'll say, well, I never really even saw anybody there. But if you say, well, this is how many was in marked units, this is how many was in unmarked units,
Okay.
I can see them being a little bit more receptive to letting them know that. than
Yeah.
Just say, hey, read the dailies. I mean,
Well, we don't really want to give them the dailies. They can
Well, it's
request
public.
them. It's public. They can
It's in the
request them.
board book, but yeah, it's a lot
Right.
of stuff to go through if you're
Yeah.
a resident.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I think just giving that peace of mind word of mouth, I'm okay with that.
So we're doing that in communication?
What's that?
Is that just part of our
that'll
communication?
be part of the monthly report.
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
Yes.
Great. Okay, let's go into the general
you.
manager's
See you.
report.
Good luck.
Lisa.
Thank you. My general manager report was actually added to the supplement packet, so you can follow along from there. I do have a reservation request from the Tidal for Apache's Pool on December the 30th for the Polar Bear Swim. They're looking to utilize it from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and asking for a waiver of fees, and I'll need your approval on that.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So what was the purpose?
Polar Bear Swim.
Oh, okay.
Yes, motion.
Second?
Second, they do their own lifeguarding, right?
Yes.
Okay, just let Mark know. I mean, not
Yes,
that
sure.
he doesn't, okay, any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed?
I'm going to
There's one
abstain.
discussion, yeah. Oh,
Oh.
I'm sorry.
I didn't mean to discuss.
How are we going to push it out?
We are actually including it in the newsletter as well as on the e-sign and then also through social media.
Okay.
And Tidal Waves pushes it out as
Okay.
well.
Yes, they do.
And that's only for tidal waves, or anybody can do that?
It's for the district. It's for the neighborhood.
Okay.
It's a kind of a way to promote Tidal Waves, correct? Okay, great, thank you. Numbers, go ahead.
Oh, moving on, we do have estimates from Sagamore Fencing. It's going to be estimates 7114, 7115, and 7116. What I did is I asked them to go ahead and break it out in linear feet, and we're going to do phases 2, 3, and 4. I have included the addresses for you all and pricing. Estimate 7114 is going to be at $22,750, and that's going to cover the areas of House Creek between 704 and 810. Moving on, we're going to have estimate 7115, and that's going to be covering the areas between Autry, Cynthia, Lambrusco, Kicking Bird, and Hutton Lane. That's going to be in the amount of $20,475. And then estimate number 7116 is going to include all of the Kicking Bird area between 16202 to 16306. And that estimate's going to be $24,115. Before you all vote on this, I did want to give you all just a little bit of information in regards to how we're communicating with residents. Should these be approved, what we've done is actually purchase some door tags. We've added information on that door tag to let them know that Blockhouse Mud, if approved tonight, We'll hang these door tags tomorrow morning, introduce Sagamore fencing, let them know that Alfonso Chavez will be reaching out to them, so that way nobody feels as though it's a solicitation. This is something that the board has approved, and he's gonna be working with them to coordinate the actual repair in itself, making sure that their animals are put away, that they'll understand that this is gonna be in a day, so that way nobody's left with the fencing down. So it'll start in the morning, and when they're done with it, at the end of that day, that fencing will be completely repaired and back up, so that way no resident feels as though they're unsafe before the end of that initiative. So we did bring 3 proposals to the board, and I'm asking for approval on these tonight.
In the supplemental, is that Excel spreadsheet in there?
Yes, I actually did
Okay.
include in the supplemental and Excel spreadsheet. What I did is just put together basically the proposals that have already been approved, and as well as the linear fees that we've already worked on, and also the amount. If you decide to approve these again tonight, we'll be at a total of $83,122.24, with a total of 1,880 linear feet that will have been repaired.
Yeah, I thought it was nice to kind of have a tracking Excel spreadsheet so we can see how far and what we've covered, and I think that'll help us going forward also, okay? So it's nice that the Cynthia and Opti, that's on the other side of the neighborhood,
That's
right?
correct.
That's good.
We're really trying to hone in on right now is really areas that are in need.
Yeah.
We're not just trying to just stay collectively on Creek Run, which is initially the way we had kind of looked at the scope. These residents are calling out to us. We're also noticing that obviously these fence areas have just really been dilapidated. So we're trying to focus on those and get those in a repaired state.
Okay, great. Do I have a motion?
What's the plan on staining and so is that a whole nother phase after?
So that's gonna be another phase, but what we actually are gonna do, hopefully in December, I'm gonna bring back to you an entire staining proposal for the 3-mile loop. We'll be bringing in a contractor that will actually be going around, and he will be power washing everything and then get to staining. This is the stain that the district had approved many years ago. And so we're actually, all the fencing that we know is well still intact, we're gonna start there and get on to staining that. We wanna try and do it during the winter season because it's the best time to do that. So we're hoping that budget-wise that we'll be able to collectively have everything stained, and then also the newer fencing areas that are being fenced, we'll be able to get those stained as well. So
Excellent.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve?
One last question. I know we're tracking this in Excel, but we're also tracking this in our infrastructure software, correct, as well, in the sections that are being replaced?
So not as of yet, in my report at the very
Oh, sorry.
end, I did include a email from Spyglass letting you know where they are at as
Okay.
far as their completion is concerned. What we're hoping for is, once they have completed all of their due diligence, coming out to the district, finishing all the water and tap lines and so forth, that we'll be able to provide this information back to them, and it will be uploaded. So it's close to being done, but we're not there quite yet.
That's fine, I just want to check and make sure that was good. Okay.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve all 3 proposals?
Motion.
Second.
Any more discussion?
Yes, I have a question. So we kind of experienced this in the past, and I'm just showing this as a legal question for you. Since they're all underneath 25,000, and did we solicit 3 proposals? Is that correct?
You're not required to under 25.
Okay, but if it's a single project that continues to accumulate with the same contractor, is that a violation?
We have set proposals that are clearly distinct geographically, so I'm not particularly concerned about it.
Okay, because I know that we had an issue before, and it accumulated, and then we could possibly be in some serious violation of the going after bids, because it's the same contractor, but we're just obviously separating out the projects, but it's the same fence.
We had this discussion last month, and Sean said it was fine, but to remind you, we did go out for 3 bids. We did, and that was in our packet a couple of months ago.
But if
So
it's
we did.
over 75, then we have to go out and do an advertising bid, correct?
You have to solicit 3 once you go between 75 and 150, and then once you go north of 150, you have to publicly bid.
So if this is accumulating over 150, where do we stand as far as legal?
These are distinct projects from my perspective. It would be one thing if we had just one single project going on, but these are different sections of the fence.
Okay, yeah, I'm just concerned about the appearance.
Yeah, and we did have this recorded we did have this same discussion last month,
So
so.
if we,
Yeah.
sorry.
If you are, and I understand your concern, and, you know, maybe at some point after Sagamore has performed whatever amount, you know, for one, I think it's fine the way it's being done, but two, you know, maybe we go back and solicit it again just to make sure that we're comfortable with the contractor.
Yeah, because I think the competitive bid process, I'm just concerned that we're giving this all to this one contractor. I want the project done, and I understand they were highly recommended, but just having these three, and it was real obvious that they broke them out kind of intentionally to be under 25.
I'm
So,
not sure that's why it's happening like that.
okay,
I mean, it's,
Because you're-
again, these are three distinct projects from what I'm saying.
okay,
And so last month, you'll recall, we saw bids from three different contractors for
Okay.
the same jobs.
all right, that was just my concern legal-wise.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, so we're all comfortable with that going forward. Do I have a motion to?
I made the motion to.
Yes,
approve.
all in
Johnson
favor.
seconded. Aye.
Aye.
I'm going to vote no and abstain basically because I'm concerned about the appearance.
All right,
Are you
is it no
abstaining or no?
That's a no.
Okay, okay, thank you. So you have number 10?
Yes, moving on, I do have
Or
proposals on items 9, 10, and 11, and the proposals were actually in the supplemental packet. Again, they're from supplementary. Keep in mind, I did reach out to our preferred vendors list, and I did ask for other bids, and I did not receive any other bids from any other vendors. Director Roberts, about 3 months ago, I believe, asked me to go and try and see if I could find bids for the pickleball tennis courts, for the basketball court, and for the skate court. What we're looking at is not the chain link fencing, but the piping that actually holds the chain link fencing back away from the court
Mhm.
itself. They are, I'm gonna guess, more than 25 years old, rusted out, the plastic is completely torn and just ripped on them, mostly from sun damage. Sagamore Fence has come back and has provided me a bid for your pickleball court, tennis court, estimate 7146, it's gonna be for $2,800. For your basketball court, estimate 7145, yes, it's gonna be at $5,200. And then for your skate court, it's gonna be estimate 7147 at $3,800. These are all gonna be under a warranty. They're already gonna be out in the district mobilized. It's definitely gonna be one of those things that we will finally be able to help the courts along as far as the
Fencing.
not just the fencing, but the decking that we went ahead and laid on it last year. This is gonna help that as well. So if I can get approval on those three.
Okay, motion to approve the 3 proposals.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Any more discussion? So it's under 10 grand total?
Yes, total.
Okay, any more discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Number 12.
Thank you. Moving on, you'll be able to see that in my packet, I also have a quote from Progressive Commercial Aquatics. This is gonna be quote number QA2637-3 in the amount of $11,265.05. This is for the Apache Pool thermal cover quote. Basically, I reached out to Progressive and I asked them what it would take to get this managed. I know that you all had mentioned that next year would be a great time to have this done. We're about 8 to 10 weeks out to order this. Next year, pricing is going up. We do have this in our budget currently, and I'd like to get this approved. We do have, with going this route, a 6-year warranty,
Prorated warranty.
prorated warranty on this thermal cover, and I'm looking for approval on that today.
Do I have a motion to approve the thermal covers for Apache?
I'll motion to discuss.
Second?
Second.
Okay, discussion, Director Johnson.
I have a question. So this site visit for pool dimensions and schematics, it seems like we're paying for a quote. I mean, I get that they're measuring it, but isn't that usually part of the quote is the dimensions?
I actually don't have an answer for you on that. I have to go
Okay.
back to you on that.
I agree with that, yeah.
It seems like typically we'd say we want a pool cover that's this big,
Mhm.
and we could get that, I know the pool's 25 yards long. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head how wide a lane is, but it seems like that's part of the quote.
For
is the
this one
dimension.
item, I'd be happy to go in, like I said, if I could get approval with a,
About the 500?
exactly, without the 500 or not to exceed with the full amount, less of the 500, if I can get them to remove that, considering it's part of them quoting.
So I think the next page actually does give it the dimension. As you said, it's a 6-year, so that is basically the description of the,
Ooh, 12, sorry.
go ahead.
Well, 12 by 12, whether that's feet or yards,
That's
doesn't cover the
square.
pool.
Yeah,
They've already been out, right?
Yes. Full cover says 3,352.4 square feet.
But it says
It's a lot
12
more
by
than-
12 hemmed.
It's probably the little entrance.
Oh,
Oh, it says option
the
3.
kiddie pool, the kid,
Yeah.
maybe, okay, that could be.
I was gonna say,
Good catch.
because 12 by 12 was a lot less than 3,300 square feet. I was just saying, it's like
If you
those
recall in the
numbers
video,
don't
it seemed
match.
to be a 12 by 12 area when we.
So Director Johnson, do you want to modify your, did you make the motion
I did.
to, without the 500?
Yeah, I guess if they'll approve it without the 500, then great. So let me, see how this suits everybody. So I motion that if they'll approve the amount less the $500, then we approve that. Or if they're not willing to let go of the 500, I guess more discussion at the next meeting after Lisa hears back.
So that points to the labor, which goes to, they need to get an accurate measurement so they're not overbuilding it or underbuilding it. So I don't know if that's, I mean, they should be getting something for having a site visit, measuring and guaranteeing that it's gonna be the right size. So if we're looking at page 2 of 2, I think we should include something for labor, and if it's 500 or less, I'm good with that, but
Would be happy to take this information, get the appropriate information from Pro Aquatics, discuss it with the amenities subcommittee, and let them make the final approval if that is in fact the reasoning as to why, or bring it back to the board in December.
Well, did you see the asterisk? It says labor equals site visitation needed to measure and draw schematics for
But they-
manufacturing.
They gave us 12 by 12, so they clearly measured it.
Well, 12 by
Yeah.
12 hemmed is just gonna be obviously that small.
I think what David's getting
But
at
they
between the
still-
square
Yeah.
footage, that someone's been out here, but I guess the other question I had is like, why is the 6-year warranty prorated? Like, is that because they're deducting values? It gets, like, what's?
Right, they wear probably.
I mean, there's, okay, so that was just my only question, like,
It is an odd, it's an odd warranty.
And the dimensions of a pool are fixed.
Yeah.
Our lanes are standard
Yeah.
width and our length.
Well, it's already got the brackets or whatever you want to call those things that it hooks to, I mean, correct? So it's, they should, if they've been out there,
Yeah.
maybe they're just adding that in there now?
Well, you know, maybe you should pull your motion and let Lisa do a little bit more research, since we have several questions.
I'm fine with that.
Can,
Yes.
can I make an amended motion? That we go ahead and let Lisa confirm and then give her the directive to move forward if she feels in her position that it's acceptable to the board?
Happy
I'm
to
fine
do
with
that and discuss with the amenities subcommittee, giving
Yeah.
them the final information.
So that way we don't
Yeah.
wait
Yeah.
10 weeks or another 4 weeks?
Yeah.
Can I do that?
Is that
Okay.
okay?
Oh,
All right,
So do you have a clear motion, Sean?
sure he does.
And then Shoemaker, you second that clear motion?
yeah, I can, I was, in my head, we were talking about 4 weeks, like, wait a second, but no, we're still meeting almost 4 weeks. I was saying, we're meeting early in December, it might not be that much lead for him to do the work anyway, but
Yeah.
it's fine.
Okay, all in favor?
All right.
Thank you. And 13,
Moving on, I was asked in September to bring back a preferred vendors list. I was able to put that together. My apologies in the timeliness of it. I did provide for you all vendors that we're utilizing in every area of the district for different aspects of it, your electrical, pool security, what we're using for interior finish out, or who we're using, landscaping and clearing, your fencing, your plumbing. That's pretty slim as far as plumber. I can't find a plumber that's not willing to be paid at the time of services. Mike has been out here in the district for 20-plus years, and he understands our payment arrangement and is willing to wait. Pest control, same thing. Osborne's been out here for quite some time. They're willing to wait. Other pest controls are looking to be paid at time of service. We only have one windmill person because that is the only one that's willing to come out here and service our windmill, so they're slim. Cleaning with Jan Pro, we've had a contract with them for quite some time, and I haven't really searched for anybody else. Your concrete and asphalt, obviously, we've been using Dig Dug, and we had to recommend them, and Crossroads Utility Services has been doing a great job in regards to that. Our asset management, of course, we're just using BGE. Our court refinishing with Hellas Construction, they're the only ones that have been engaged, and the courts have only been utilized or refinished one time, so I haven't really gone out to go look for any others. Our newsletter and printing items, we definitely have them, you know, the 3 vendors that we've been utilizing. Our website, 620 Studios, and then, of course, Crossroads has been using NRW for any of their water surveying and leak detection, and of course, their district signs.
So that's not really a static list anyways. I mean, at any point in time, we can add a new vendor.
Absolutely, we
or-
can. These are just ones that we have definitely been creating a great rapport with, and they've, been working in the district for quite some time, and they're people that we definitely lean on, and we know we can get a good product.
What are the thoughts on publishing this on the district website and putting a link there for if you'd like to apply for a preferred vendor email address?
I think I will be inundated with people that are wanting to get on this list, and it
Yes.
would be a task.
I agree.
Yeah, publishing it might not hurt, but yeah, putting it, because I'll be honest, Robert, I think anything we put out there that's public facing will get hit with
Yeah,
spam pretty
yeah, I agree.
hard.
Yeah.
That people who are, even if they're actual vendors that just, have a bot crawling to throw an email.
But along those lines, though, for some of these, I realize it does not make sense to have multiple people on here.
Mhm.
For example, asset management, windmill, I mean, it might make sense, but there's not more than one. But perhaps, the next time we do major pest control, it might be good just to have, for competitiveness, just one other person. Not because there's anything wrong with Osborne Pest and Turf, but just that way, we're being a little competitive.
Do other districts have, or is there somebody other districts that Crossroads work with you, or are they pretty much using Osborne too, just because?
I don't
He'll
have the
take-
districts that actually do pest control
Oh,
around their
okay.
areas, so again, one of the reasons, same as the plumbing, they're looking for payment at time of service rendered.
Yeah, no, that's what I was,
That's the biggest kicker right there,
Sure.
so, it's.
I will suggest something to you. I use Real Green, and they bill me.
Okay.
And they leave an invoice, and we could certainly get it paid, but they're fine with
Sure.
getting payment later.
Or are they a pest control?
Yeah, they're actually a little bit more organic.
I think everybody on the board has an email address posted on the website. What's the spam status? Are you guys getting spam? Because I'm not.
Yeah.
Not more than
I
any
get-
other email account, but yeah.
yeah.
I get
not
several.
Yeah, not anymore other email.
But it's not bad. I mean, it's basically related to the water districts.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah. Okay, do you need a
Just,
approval or?
no, this is just
Okay.
more informational.
Well, thank you for putting that together.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, PR and communications, number 14.
There was a PR communications subcommittee meeting, and the memo was in your packet. There's nothing to discuss unless you guys have any information to provide.
So under special events, Cocoa Christmas is coming up. I have offered to work it, and I'm looking for help. If I know Director Roberts can't do it.
Date.
December 2nd's on the memo.
Oh, sorry.
Who's Santa?
Santa is Santa.
No, but who's
Who's helping Santa? Who's helping
Who's
Santa?
Santa's helper?
No, but have you, okay, because apparently my office has snagged the one that we had here last year. So I needed you to know that. We did not realize the same day, but my agents are doing photos with Santa.
We do have 2 gingerbread men or elves that my daughter and her boyfriend are gonna be Santa's helpers.
And I actually do have a Santa outfit. Robert wants to wear
Yeah, I'm too late to start working on the beard now.
December
Well,
2nd.
Johnson's
Yeah.
got one.
Yes, sort of.
Okay, so Johnson, you're not. around?
A wedding.
it. And I'm doing my
Yeah, no,
office,
you're
yeah.
So Shoemaker, Young, if you can help me out. just
We'll
let me
discuss
know.
after the meeting.
Yeah, okay.
Another thing on this communication subcommittee, we were doing better and better on the newsletter, but if we were to send out an email saying, hey, what do you guys want to include? Like, I don't think we'd ever get it back. But if we make mental notes during the month and then at the monthly board meeting, we can bring those topics up. If you guys want to introduce new project going on or something's happening, let's take a moment to, who wants to put something in the newsletter? And I think we'll get more and better information in the
Yeah, just pop
newsletter.
the email to Lisa or Amy.
Yeah.
I think we might have one after the survey discussion next month.
Good. Okay, so let's move into nothing on transparency, I don't believe, survey.
Resident survey, we're making progress. We've got the questions written out. One item, we're not, I don't think we're ready to do decisions, but Lisa's looking for a vendor to administer the survey, either going through SurveyMonkey or whatever, but one item, it's gonna be on the discussion next month, but I want to give everybody a quick heads up. Annexation by Cedar Park is a question that was brought up. I would like to have it on there at some level, but I think David had some concerns that like some residents might think that we're going in that direction. I want to make sure that we get it worded right, or if David wins this point, then we won't include a question on annexation. But to do it, I'd like to be very clear that this is not the direction. This is just everybody that comes in and says, hey, we need to be annexed. Well, they'll have data saying, hey, 90% of people want to be annexed or not. But we're looking to get an unbiased question. So I think maybe we'll put something in there, or maybe we'll look at not even including that as a question.
Okay, so will we have a draft of the survey next month?
We're hoping to have it within a week.
Oh, okay, so Lisa, you can send it out to the directors to review it, okay.
And then, yeah, maybe give that a rewording and be prepared to debate if we have it on there or not.
That was gonna be my newsletter item that I was gonna suggest after next month, was if we could accomplish the education mission, maybe through the newsletter, just letting people know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can have that discussion next time, but Robert actually gave my side very well, so.
And can I make a quick comment on the Ellis thing real quick?
Please.
Sorry. On the annexation part, it may not hurt to have an informational blurb on the survey about why it's not on there. I think what people would need to have is some kind of very short blurb that summarizes where state law is. Because state law has changed a lot in the last, 4 or 5 years? Since 2017? So completely different.
Yeah.
I think most people who don't work in cities are completely unaware about how it works. So that maybe you not have a direct question on the survey, maybe have it on the survey though, where there's a very small blurb, like, why is this not on here?
We could also
If y'all
add it to the
choose to do that.
website.
The
Yeah,
website has a blurb on it.
But just with putting it on with the survey itself, people go, why isn't it on the survey? You know, you can talk more at the time, but I just want to throw that out there as an idea that
Okay,
would it be a note on the survey.
Would it be okay for Director Shoemaker to send me his thoughts on the state law and, or you can send it through,
Lisa.
and then I can try to craft that blurb before next time?
Yeah, that's, copy me, because it is.
But I was actually gonna say Sean's
Yeah,
probably got
okay.
a better understanding of the changes.
Yeah, annexation has changed so much now, it's really by petition of the landowner. I think there's one provision now where if you do a certain amount of rooftops, you can have an election to do it.
And that's,
Yeah,
That's my
this is outpaced, it's outpaced my
That
knowledge.
is more of a Cedar Park issue than it is a Blockhouse Mud issue, so.
gotcha.
So to avoid the resident survey being a informational thing, like here's what's going on, maybe we could just have a link, we'll post the blurb on the website, and anybody who wants to know about it, we can go in depth on there on the
Okay, we can
website.
discuss that more next
discuss it.
month. Or give us a draft. Okay, thank you.
Can I, okay, so it's the same question I had last month. There's just a lot of lawns that are looking really bad.
Yep.
And there's a lot of vehicles that are sitting in the driveways for a long, long time. So are they just, I know they were dealing with some lack of help, is that being remedied?
Yes, but I think that that's been pretty much addressed
Okay,
newly, so there's a ramp-up period.
okay,
And they are, actually, there is one home, I'll speak generally so we don't have to go to session, but there's one home where we want to jump in front of the issue,
Mhm.
but can't, because if we circumvent the normal process, then,
We should never circumvent.
well, that's what I'm saying, yeah, so, but they are, all of the issues are in, I mean, some of those are in the OA, like on my street, there's 2 houses like that,
okay.
but that's in the OA, not in the mud, but they are in the machine,
Okay.
so to speak.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
there's some progress being made and
Thank
changes.
you.
Number 20, resident concerns with safety in the district, including solicitors, neighborhood director Johnson.
Oh, yes. So this was the issue as a result of an email that Lisa forwarded last month, but we don't have time to put it in the agenda. We just wanted to kind of see, Sean, what is the art of the possible in terms of solicitors in the neighborhood that, I mean, my house, just like I'm sure everybody's.
Yeah, and unfortunately, on the enforcement side, very little you can do.
You're in the county.
Yeah, well, even, I mean, I'm in the city and we've got restrictive covenants that say that you can't solicit and they still come. And, you know, people get angry about it. I understand the safety issue.
Sure.
Because we have people in our house late at night sometimes and we hate it, but.
Yeah.
But from a restrictive covenant perspective, you could try to ban it, but I think that's unfortunately the most effective thing you could do, as we know.
But if we ban it using restrictive covenants, that does what, I mean, we'd be able to call the police or not? Because I doubt the solicitors live here for the most part.
Yeah, there's no criminal enforcement.
Does it, the person that wrote the email suggested a sign. Does anyone think that would be useful outside of enforcement?
Actually,
Just
I
can't enforce
think
it?
when I first moved here, we had the brick sign with the green wood out front that said no soliciting. And then it got all messy and they just tore it down. And I don't know if a solicitor is
Being no
gonna be,
solicitors, I think it said residents only.
no, I think it said no soliciting, I'm pretty sure, but
They were soliciting
I
anyway,
don't think
regardless.
a solicitor's gonna drive in and go, oh, okay, and then turn around.
Right,
Do you have any idea if this is covered in the restrictive covenants?
I don't believe so.
I've never seen it.
I don't think it is. I mean, from a practical matter, like, it's not a criminal thing. I mean,
I've been to many doors during the campaign months, and there were a lot of very distinct signs on individual homes.
Mhm.
And, okay, I could leave some, campaign stuff and then move on. I won't knock on the door or whatever. Aside from that, we have churches that are reaching out, evangelical missions and different things like that. People are free to put a sign on their front door and say, Girl Scouts, okay, door-to-door roof salesman, not okay, like whatever they want to do. And that should help individuals, but I don't think that putting a sign up that we're not going to be able to enforce is going to help or anything.
Yeah.
Whereas an individual door sign would, we work weird hours and don't wake us up.
Okay, like I said, it came in through an email, so I wanted to
Yeah,
throw it up
Yeah,
for the board and
that's
see
good.
what's possible.
is Taylor on? Okay, hi Taylor.
Hello.
She's gonna be on the screen.
Oh, there we go. We had you muted, but I think you can hear you now.
Hi, so we're gonna go ahead and go into finance. You wanna give your report?
Sure. If y'all want to flip to page 62 of your packet, that's where the financials will start. Again, the subcommittee met on Monday and went through these invoices, several questions that came up. We did have a list of supplementals that were sent out. Again, primarily, these are related to you moving your meeting, because the meeting fell so early. Again, we had to move up our deadline a little bit, and these ones were sensitive, so we wanted to go ahead and get those paid. You also have 2 blank checks in there, and when I say blank, I just mean they don't have an amount. They do have a payable on there, but the reason why is obviously we need to cover your credit card bill and then also the manager's account, because we process payroll out of there for the patrol officers, and the timing of your meeting, we need to make sure that we've got enough in there to cover that. So that's why those 2 are in there. Other than that, we just had your normal 2 transfers for the month, and your tax collections, again, for the month of September, 99%, so you're in good shape there. Again, now you'll start to next month see your new tax levy in your financial report.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve payment of bills and invoices in the 2 fund transfers?
Motion.
Second,
second.
any discussion?
Taylor, I got a corporate authorization resolution. It looks like I should be printing my name as a secretary,
Yes,
but I don't see where to sign.
there should be a page like behind, I think it's like 2
Later?
pages back
Okay.
where there's 2 signatures needed. Yeah.
Is that
Okay.
a name change?
That's good. I'll do that.
Okay, so I had a second, yeah, all in favor?
Any more discussion? I think we're done.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we did have a good meeting. We brought up several items. One of them is, and Sean, this might be under your, no, it's not. Did you all come up with a plan for signing checks?
We did, yeah, we talked about it and kind of ran some traps, and I think we, again, with the early meeting this time around, I think we wanted to make sure that our I's dotted and T's crossed, and we'll probably bring that back in December. But it works for Taylor, works for Lisa, works for me, so.
Okay, great. Was there anything else substantive that we brought up in our discussion? Then, no? I'm looking at you.
Ursula, this wasn't brought up necessarily in the subcommittee meeting, but I know it was brought up at the last board meeting. And it, again, just something for the board to start thinking about from a discussion perspective, but we have that special projects text pool account. And I know previously, I don't think there was a specific resolution as far as what that money could be used for, but I think it was in the minutes. And so we may just want to revisit if that needs to be restricted or if there were specific projects or anything y'all wanted to use that for.
Okay, so Sean, will you have Denise pull the minutes so we can see what the exact verbiage was and then if we need to do something? Sure. Okay, all right, thank you.
Taylor, prior to, can we go in and, once these have been approved, can we give them their checks, or that's?
Yes,
Lisa
please
just-
do.
Okay.
Okay, great. We just hang on just for a little bit because we let
Absolutely.
you go. And then we had a question for you like 2 seconds after that, but you probably don't need to hang on. We're actually really cranking through this agenda, so. Thank you, Taylor. Okay, amenities, 23, report from Premier Recreation. He's not here.
He's not here, but his report is in the packet.
Okay.
He doesn't have any items that discussion. If you
Okay.
have any questions, we can get it back to him.
Okay, good. So let's go ahead and go into the review for Priority Landscapes trip. And I just want to remind the board, this is a performance review. I think Lisa sent out a good email just to remind us, this isn't really a time for us to talk about the details of the contract or how we want to change the contract. We just approved your contract last month. And if there are changes we want to do, we can do that later, but this is a performance review.
Okay.
So what I like to do is have this done in an orderly fashion. So I'm gonna start with Shoemaker and go around. And then Tripp, we also want to hear from you. If, what's working, what's not, and.
Can I pass for the moment? I was looking at some of their stuff in the packet.
Okay, Director Roberts.
Oh, sorry, I was signing checks.
Apologies, I was trying to.
Yeah. So, I think you guys do a really good job. I think you're very responsive when it's brought to your attention. The only thing I would recommend for you is when the crews are here, have them pay a little bit more attention to how they're mowing and turning because they burn out the turf. I mean, you and I've had this conversation many years. And then also, if there's like fallen limbs, maybe get it removed then instead of waiting. I know sometimes it seems like the mowing happens and they leave the limb under the tree. But other than that, I think just in monitoring the irrigation, because the irrigation is wiping out the decomposed granite. It's kind of washing it out because I think it's low pressure. But I know Lisa mentioned one time that low pressure could be rocks in the line. And she said it's easy to blow it out. Is that correct?
That can happen, or calcium can also happen. We can look into that. I think it's kind of, it seems like we have times of the year where we have water pressure issues, but then there's other times that are not. I know we have 3 connections now, so as long as those 3 are open, there really shouldn't be. So if you see those rings, then we need to know about it if we haven't already noticed, because something's not
Well,
done right.
what I may do is get Lisa to get with Ben, or Ben have Travis monitor those trails, and so it could be reported. And maybe when the crews are out here, work with Travis a little bit, like, maybe, Travis, what have you seen that we're not doing? And in the hard services in the courts, I know it would be nice to get those blown out. Maybe that's Travis's position, that he could do that. The leaves are falling and kind of collecting in there, and it gets trapped where that bar is at the bottom of the fence. But other than that, I think everything's good. The one thing I do know, when we plant new trees, how long do the cables need to stay on a tree to stabilize it?
A year or so, it depends. There's the one out there that was
Leaning,
the leaning.
yeah.
And if we're gonna do the other trees, I was gonna pull that one up and fix it as well.
Yeah, I think that's my only feedback, is like maybe get those out on a timely basis, if they're stabilized
Yeah, as
enough.
long as they're stable, then they can come out.
Okay,
So.
thank you.
Thank you, Director
So
Roberts.
appreciate you.
with regards to the limbs, I think we've got a plan in the parks that if we see some limbs, tag it with a space, email it to Lisa. Lisa will get that to Tripp. So if Tripp has his guys like, hey, there's a limb that needs to be picked up at some point, maybe just add that to the list when the Lisa email gets to you and we're all to pick up the limbs. I think that would be good
Okay.
for another set of eyes getting limbs taken care of, if that's
Okay.
okay.
Director Johnson?
The only thing I would add to what Director Roberts said is just, I know this has been a crazy year, landscaping wise with February and all that, so just thank you for everything.
Appreciate that.
You and no, well, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, other than that, I think she said everything I needed to say, so appreciate it.
Thank you. Director Young?
Yeah, I pretty much voice all my, opinion. I think Tripp does a great job. But he already knows, I know that, I feel that way. I'm just sharing this with the rest of the board. Yeah, he can be more responsive and more accountable, and I don't have anything negative to say.
Okay. I agree with everything that's been stated. Tripp, you are amazing, your crew's great, and so we thank you for all your hard work. You're very ethical and honest, and we are definitely blessed to have you as one of our vendors. I think the amenities subcommittee is probably gonna work with you. I think you have some ideas of how to kind of tweak the contract, so we'll do that down the road. And just look at other options. I know we've talked about, this is something very simple, is do you need to mow Tomlinson every week? Maybe it's every other week kind of thing, but you're the expert, you know what needs to be done, so I appreciate everything that you're doing. So, thank you.
What are these things in the boxes that are on the desk?
Oh, yes.
You know anything about these?
I do know a little bit about those. Those are
Maybe
from the
we'll
elm
get
tree that we took down out here. So we had some things made.
Oh,
Thank you.
Isn't that great? I
Thank you,
knew
Tripp. I didn't
Cecilia,
even
you would
notice.
love
Did
that.
I get one? Oh, just,
I didn't even
Yes,
notice
that's
either,
yours.
Cecilia, so don't feel bad. I was
I
like,
didn't know.
I was-
Isn't that
I was-
great?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, you made my heart so that, it's got turquoise in it.
Yes,
Thank
it's
you.
beautiful.
Thank you, Tripp, these
Thank
are
you.
awesome. This is
Yeah.
the first project out of that, and it's appreciated. We got
I didn't want to
a little
do the whole
traction.
thing, but I wanted to.
Yeah.
These were beautiful, thank you.
And I know how important that tree is to all of us, but to Cecilia especially, so I thought you would
Yes,
absolutely
thank
love
you.
that.
I do have one more comment, if I'm allowed.
Mhm.
All I was gonna say is just, I want to say thank you for the help you did with the winter storm. I think a lot of residents have been really happy with how that worked out. We were a heck of a lot better off than the poor guys in Brushy Creek, and that disaster that befell them. I don't really have any issues with how y'all are doing all this. I think the only thing I ever hear people complain about the work y'all do is never about what y'all do actually. It's about people complain that the sprinklers run during the day, right? That's the only thing I ever hear is people going about, but they never complain about, I've never heard me complain about y'all being out mowing or doing maintenance, right? So, I mean, given how easy it is for people to get annoyed about, oh, they're mowing or blowing leaves or doing stuff while they're out and about, I think y'all do a good job trying to be respectful of the residents. So that's all I really had to say, so.
I just want to add one more thing. So my neighbor works for another competitor for you, and she says our park is just beautiful. So I thought that was a great compliment. The other thing I'd love for you to do, and you may have already done this, but this would be working with me and Lisa, is identifying when there's an emergency after hours, where are those cutoffs? And maybe make sure that Lisa has the maps and then Ben has the maps, so whenever after hours are called, the person coming out here knows where to go and how to do it, because you remember that call.
Yeah, that's a
And we
good
do
point.
have, I'll do that, I'll do Lisa, but we do.
That would be
she
very
may not
helpful.
have it, But,
Ben or
Dave,
Prosper.
yeah, David Gray had provided one. that-
Oh, okay.
It's all done.
Perfect, yeah, because I would have never thought they would have been turned off over here at the water, just above ground tower.
When we had to turn off the pool house over here, it was by your house.
Yeah, but then to turn that off had to be.
It was over
Right, right, no, that's what I mean.
It's crazy. Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I'm sure there's
it's-
some logic
yeah.
to it, but it's over there.
Okay, so Tripp, we've given you our feedback. Well, this is an opportunity for you to let us know, give us feedback.
I'm a little on the spot, but, honestly, the board is great to work with. I mean, everybody is very helpful. I don't have any complaints worth complaining about, really. I mean, it's just, when I enjoy working with you guys and I definitely have with you for many
Yeah,
years.
thank you.
And, anytime I need something, I can talk to Lisa. I mean, everything gets resolved, I don't have any complaints, I really don't, so.
Okay, great.
So just like, how could we do better? Like, I wish things were a little bit better one way or another. Do you have anything like that off the top of your head? If not, you're always welcome to give feedback to Lisa and deliver that back to us.
Or the subcommittee.
All right, I'll do that.
Okay, all right, great, thank you, Trip. Good job.
Thank you.
We give you an A.
I do have a contract question because I read it. It's not a change.
Okay, yeah.
It's not a change. I was reading through it after you sent it out, Lisa, and the contingency stage 4 water, we changed that, right?
Mhm.
Is it changed in the one that was sent out? Because,
No,
Okay,
that
thank
was
you.
the previous one. so.
okay,
Good
good.
catch there.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, I'm pretty sure that's not in there.
Yeah, but to confirm, though, David, Trip and I agreed on some language that fit the criteria.
Okay, great.
Thank you all for doing that.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go into the proposal for tree installations, proposal 3124.
And these are being placed where? Does it say?
I think this is coming back from last month, right, Trip?
Mhm.
Yes, it is, sorry, I'm trying to get to it, but I have.
It's $1,590.70.
Per tree, that was the 10 trees, I actually thought that was approved last meeting. It was brought to my attention that it wasn't, because we needed to determine the locations of the tree. Lisa has a map that she'll be sending you of what we talked about, or what I suggested, and so I don't know, you guys, I guess you guys can decide whether you want to approve and give a directive or whatever, but, trying to.
Timeline, because I said, this is probably about the time that you plan, right? This month?
Yeah.
You need to really need to get them in before New Year's, right?
I prefer that, yes.
Okay, but that's what I'm asking. Your personal opinion on the planting times. It seems like the right time. It's still warm enough, but not cold enough and wet. Yeah.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve this proposal?
It's for 15,900.
Well, it's gonna be 15,000, because it's 1,500 per tree, and it's a
Right.
minimum of 10 trees.
Mhm.
So does the budget cover this?
Yeah.
And you have no plan on where they're going right now?
There is a map.
There is a
No,
map.
Lisa has it.
Oh,
I
is it?
have it, I did not get it out to you all, I blocked my laptop, I will send it out in a blind copy tomorrow morning.
Is it in the parks or right away, or?
It's gonna be,
It's all the 10 trees were gonna be right here in Tomlinson, because that's where we lost the most trees.
Okay,
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve?
Okay, it's not gonna be in Tomlinson.
good.
I'll motion to discuss.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Dr. Roberts, do you have any more discussion?
I think just, okay. And warranty on the trees?
Yes,
What is
I'm
it?
not gonna walk away from you guys without.
Okay,
You know, I
okay,
mean,
like
if it's a
a,
drought, something like that, then we
Okay.
need to talk, but, I mean, if the tree doesn't work out, we'll take it.
okay,
And just to confirm, the motion is for 10 trees
Yes.
Yes.
in accordance with Lisa's.
a minimum of 10.
Mhm.
Well, we're gonna say 10, because we need to all agree on an amount, which is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, 10 trees for discussion.
Okay, any more discussion?
Moving forward for tree discussions, when we need another tree, I've asked Trip, like, what are some options on maybe smaller trees, maybe a 2-year tree, maybe 1-year tree? We would save money on both the tree, the age, but also the older the tree is, the more dirt and roots that need to be dug up. So my thoughts are, if we get a tree a couple years younger, that problem solves itself in a couple of years, but moving forward, hopefully we'll start getting multiple quotes on, hey, this is the 45-gallon tree, or the 25-gallon tree, or the 1-gallon tree kind of thing.
essentially a good, better, best.
Yeah, we did have this discussion in the amenities subcommittee, that if your proposals next time could have 1, 2, or 3, good, better, best kind of thing. And then we can decide, but we do want your input, the benefits of having a 45, 35, and 25.
Is it by caliper or age?
It's based by container size.
Okay.
Usually, like the 45 gallon, usually close to 3-inch caliper.
Okay, so it's about 3 inch, okay. That's good to know.
Okay, all in favor, proposal 3124 for 10 trees at $1,500 each?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Proposal for installation of boulders or disc golf course, labor only, proposal 3136.
Please ignore the map on that, by the way. It was late.
What was that?
The map on there is not correct.
I was gonna
say.
Yeah, I would say, like, that looks like the pool, and that's roughly the areas where the trees are going, right?
Those little circles.
Yeah, that'll be on the next proposal you guys discuss,
Okay.
but yes.
So
And what's the purpose?
$770.
I guess I'll motion, well,
Motion, and then we'll discuss.
a motion to discuss.
Second?
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion, Director Johnson?
Packet.
I know that it was several months ago, but I know we discussed the reason for the boulders.
Mhm.
Can we walk through it again?
Yeah, I would appreciate that.
Yeah.
Just-
Yeah, no, I'd be happy to cover that a little bit. So we bought very fancy aluminum poles, concreted them into the ground, put up a nice, well-painted sign. It has the designer name on it. It appears that those have been
They tell you what hole you're at.
getting, and, you know, the distance to, you know, where the next thing is, right?
Mhm.
So we've had a problem with those really pretty signs getting taken for souvenirs and disappearing. And so we replaced them and they're disappeared again. And so looking for a permanent solution, I looked to Williamson County where they use these big limestone boulders. They weld a number on it and they've been there for decades. And so I'm looking for a no maintenance, blend in with nature, and disc golfers will be fine with either or. It's less likely you know, the signs that we had are less likely to be stolen, or, you know, even so, BB gunners always love shooting signs because the fancy noise that they make, and so there's really not a whole lot of benefit to shooting a boulder, and if they do, it's not really gonna change a whole lot.
Ricochet.
So I'm just looking for the lowest maintenance option that is also, you know, blend right in there.
And long-term.
So this is, thank you. This is a pre-approval of the
Labor.
We'd approve the boulders at a future date.
September, actually. It was
We already did.
last-
Oh,
So
my
is it
mistake.
7?
I wasn't at the
And-
meeting. That's fine.
And for the map, we can just use the existing posts. The posts are all still there. I think we could just put them where the posts currently are.
So how many are we talking about? Because it says.
We've already
here-
purchased them. This is just the labor of putting them out there.
Oh,
You have 9 holes.
9 buckets.
So it's not 9 times 770.
Not this one.
Okay,
It's just
thank
the
you.
labor.
Okay.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Proposal 3207, landscape repairs where large trees were removed.
So these are the elm tree, the pecan tree over here, there's a list on there, but everything where we had to take the tree out, grind out the stump, we have piles of dirt right now, so it's just to repair those areas,
So you're gonna add soil, sod.
yes.
Okay, so
Wait, which proposal, I'm sorry?
3207, 24D.
So it's for 4 areas, like you said, the large elm, the, in Tomlinson Park, Sycamore and Apache and the
But
pecan.
they've already leveled.
We went ahead and leveled it, yes.
But there's no
But y'all don't
grass.
put sod on it, right? It's just
We
dirt?
haven't sawed
Just,
it.
it's just the mulchy.
Yeah, but y'all don't like actually tamped and
A
sodded
little bit
it, right?
more grading needs to be done on this one in particular, but then we'd be adding a little bit of soil just to kind of have fresh soil there and we'll sod it.
Are y'all gonna plant, I mean, this needs to be, like, area needs to be done, but like, look, have we motioned to discuss?
No, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay.
Okay, Director
Sorry.
Shoemaker.
Just two questions, I guess, just bleeds to the back, something we already approved, like, are we I mean, I get you need to prep the ground regardless, right, because the new trees, are we gonna put any of the new trees, I guess, in the spots replacing these exactly, or?
I wasn't gonna put them exactly, a lot of times it's really difficult to dig because of, you don't get the roots down low.
Mm-hmm.
So just for labor savings, we don't really go that route. So
Got it.
you'll see that on the map, you'll see there's 2 trees on each side actually of that one, so you'll be able to tell.
Okay, that's what I figured. I guess one last random question that popped up, because I was reading about the pecan tree. The trees y'all are doing on the last one, no pecans, right? Was in
No,
there?
we're not.
Is there a particular reason why? Because people, I know people like the pecans, but I feel there's a good reason why there's not. We should probably mention it here so people know, like, why we're not doing.
What exactly the question? There was.
Why are we not replacing any old pecans with new pecans? I mean, I'm sure there's some good reasons, but I can't articulate them, don't know, so I'm asking.
Yes, they are a little bit more difficult to transplant and grow, and we just haven't done a whole lot of that. It's not a typical plant that's done. We usually stick with the Monterey oaks and cedar elms and.
Yeah.
So, but
I agree with
thank
Director
you.
Shoemaker that my neighbor took a tree and planted in their front yard and it's doing better than my squirrel planted tree. I mean, seriously, it is. And I think that we should probably restore more of the pecan because it's kind of known for that little area over there.
But I think that's what I was asking Tripp. I suspect that there's some reasons why, like, it's not, like, we can discuss that maybe later if we want to have specific areas we put that at and do that work, but I figured there were reasons, but I didn't know what they were.
right, and
The squirrels planting the pecans do pretty good with that, whereas I have had one growing in a bucket, and then when I planted it in the ground, it didn't do so good. It shoots a taproot down. I've already talked with Trip. We're talking about plans of throwing some pecans in the ground in tall buckets so that the taproot could go down there. Gonna have Mother Camano, maybe the garden people can water those a few times a week as they're out there, different things like that. But I do intend to have a lot of pecans out here in Blockhouse at some point, replacing more than what has just come down.
Can you hire a
Thank you.
squirrel?
Well, there's plenty of them in the park.
Okay, so all in favor, it's for
To do
$3,183,
the repair.
proposal for 3207.
Aye.
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 Okay, thank you.
I forgot you made a motion.
Services, David Gray is under the weather, so he's not gonna be here. His report is in the packet. I did attend the Cedar Park meeting the other night. It was under consent items, they did approve it. They're on the P and Z agenda tonight. It's under consent as well, so I'm sure it's gonna be approved.
Looks like we're gonna have a large Ferris wheel
Yes.
Yeah.
somewhere back in the area now too.
Yes, and yeah, if people are asking, the Shields is now gonna be part of that development, so.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so we really don't have anything else under engineering. So let's go on to Crossroads. Ben?
Nothing under stormwater either, nothing.
No. But I hadn't gotten there yet, but no.
Oh,
Good evening.
thank you. Hi, Ben.
Hello. All right, the district looks really good this month. The water loss is just down about 1%, up 1%, from 8.40% from last month to 9.55 this month. And that just increase could be attributed to the 2 leaks last month that Tripp found in the park, and he had pictures of it, and they fixed it. But just because of the billing cycle, we're now probably reflecting that loss, but it's a pretty small loss, so. But obviously, we're always keeping an eye on it every month, and we'll see if it shores up our loss for next month. We have no write-offs for this month, and the only actionable item I have for the board tonight is the lead and copper survey proposal. And so, as some of you are aware, the EPA has made this guideline that TCEQ, which is the governing body of Texas that controls water, they have made this rule that all of the districts that we have, that Crossroads has, they have to do a lead and copper survey to identify if there is lead and copper in certain systems or certain neighborhoods. With all that being said, David Gray is not here tonight, but Gray Engineering has opted out not to do this survey, which leaves Crossroads doing it. So in the packet, or in the proposal, it would cost $11,000 if approved, and we have a lead and copper coordinator internally at Crossroads, and they would complete the lead and copper survey. And so there's really nothing that Blockhouse has to do, they just have to approve it tonight, and then, or vote on it, and then let Crossroads do the survey and get the results, and then we submit the results by the October 2024 deadline. So we're kind of getting ahead of this early because it's quite the beast. So we wanted to have ample time to complete it.
So, call me crazy, but I swear that, at a previous meeting, you guys had already reported that you'd done this. Like, did you already do
No,
the
the
schools?
samples.
You did the samples?
The samples were completed. That's a completely different.
Not the survey.
So
Okay,
they have lead and copper where they're supposed to go in and they sample every 3 years.
right.
That's different from this initiative, which that sample is actually 10 residents in the district that actually volunteer. This is up for the entire 2,200 homes that they have to go in and report, not just from the meter itself, but at the actual line back to the resident's home. So this is a little bit more, well, a lot more invasive, a lot more information. Highly recommend that the board go ahead and.
It's a
approve
federal law,
That
too.
would-
Right, we have to do it.
this. And you definitely.
Very
do.
And you mentioned, Lisa, it's more invasive, so from a homeowner perspective, the resident, they're renting, like, what will they be seeing going on in their front yard?
It's really gonna depend on the area, so a lot of the information, a lot of it being depending on the newer area, they might be able to pull from the Williamson AutoCAD, anything that was built, after 90, is it 90?
89. or
89.
88.
You're looking at, it's gonna be PEX, everything later than that, residents will probably see an initiative to where, Crossroads will have somebody come out, they're actually gonna dig up that line. They might actually do hole punches, so that way they can actually see what the line is all the way up to, the home itself. It's very important that they go and do this invasively. If I understood correctly, the violation is actually a misdemeanor, if you report any indirect, or incorrect information. So that's what they will see is probably, like I said, some type of hole punching within their water line up to the house.
So does the proposal include any communication with the residents? Are you guys gonna do any door tags or just let people know so they're not inundating Lisa or the directors?
That's only if we find, like, that invasive scenario would only happen if we found lead and copper in the system. This survey, that we're voting on tonight, does not require any invasive action unless it is found from the survey.
But yes,
So let me-
we
let me-
would stay in communication with them. We would assist Ben and
Okay.
operations to make sure that residents are being notified before anybody came out. Operation Crossroads is great with utilizing their UMS system. Ben and I can definitely work closely together to make sure if there's a particular area, obviously you're gonna see it in a whole stretch of area if they do happen to find it, and we can definitely communicate extensively with those residents. So yes, we'll be able to do that together.
So, can I ask a real quick question? So how is the process gonna start? In the older sections first? I mean, because you said if it's after a certain year built,
Well, so what we do is our internal lead and copper department, they would take the plumbing records that they have and also the Williamson County CAD website. And so I don't know if they would have an actual starting point, but they're gonna do the whole district off of plumbing records, public records off the internet, the CAD website. So
when they discover possible lead or copper, and then they're gonna approach and get permission to come onto the private property?
yes, if it came to that. And that would be like a whole separate proposal. So this one is just like very on the
This is
surface.
just like the minimal.
So if you look on page 3 of the proposal, there's a field verification thing that specifically designates that will be by a separate proposal.
So one question I saw, I realize this is later if it's necessary. Do either Stepping Stone or the elementary school get their water from us?
Yes.
They do.
Everybody
And they'll be
will be,
tested.
everybody will be.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure if they,
So then, Ben, do you mind talking about that real quick?
Yeah.
Because within the lead and copper rules, some of the heightened facilities that are scrutinized more are daycares and schools.
Yes.
Do you mind talking about that real quick?
And that would also be another separate proposal after this one. And we would be using Elston Johnson, who is a consultant at Crossroads and Gray Engineering is familiar with. But they would test the schools and the daycare Stepping Stone and the elementary school separately. So that would be another invoice further down the line after this one.
so, thank you. This part of it, the data collection and inventory, you're looking at fixed records, so that would never need to be done again, right? Because we're not building any new homes?
That's
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's not a new build.
Right. So, I mean, none of this is going to change ever.
And you really don't have that many homes that were built, since
Before
inception in 1988 either. I mean, the majority of the buildings started in 1999 with D.R. Horton.
But we still have to test everyone.
Right.
I mean, there's
But I'm just-
older
chances.
stretches, you're part of the neighborhood, I think, right, some of your homes are older, and then over near where I am off Spy, Eagle and those are,
But you
and
what,
Lone Wolf.
1980?
my house is 86 or
Yeah.
87, it's like most of the houses on that set, like, so that's where there's gonna be a lot of work.
Yeah,
You're gonna see the more work being done at the schools because they do have all of the fountains. And so they're gonna have to test every single fountain site,
And
every bathroom, restroom and all of that, as opposed to just the actual line coming in. So that's where you'll see his proposal change a little bit more. But in regards to the district itself, it is gonna be pretty much straightforward.
Is what you just described, if there's a problem or regardless,
Regardless, they have to, that's part
the
of the.
schools and the,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
okay,
Yes.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the proposal?
motion.
second.
And it's for $11,000.
And then
Second.
separate proposal
Will be
after that, yeah.
forthcoming. Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Awesome. That's all I have, unless you guys have any questions.
No, just go home.
All right, thanks,
Happy
Ben.
Thanksgiving.
Okay, anything,
Happy
thank
Thanksgiving to
you.
y'all.
Yeah, have a safe Thanksgiving. Anything for TDS or from
The
TDS?
reports in the package, definitely.
Okay.
I do have one comment, Lisa. The circle, it's got a trash can that's got the lid been off of it for weeks, and then when they apparently are dumping, they're leaving the lids flipped, and now they're full of water.
Okay.
So just maybe let Jamar know
So
that.
Jamar actually was replacing those specifically. He did ask for that address. I'm not sure why those haven't been done, but he did have that on his list. It could be just that they were behind schedule, but I will let him know about those lids.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing under stormwater. The report from the services subcommittee, do you have any information on the operations contract?
We've got one more meeting.
Yeah, we talked, so basically, we talked, we didn't realize we probably need to have Crossroads in there as well to talk about like making sure we delineate it properly, because we were discussing, it's like, well, we have an idea what needs to change, but at the same time, we're not as familiar with Emily with Crossroads operations as they are. And so basically, I think at least we decided that Crossroads is gonna kind of give us a bit of a red line where what they thought needed to move over to put parks with Lisa, but not, and
It's the biggest thing.
but we don't want to like inadvertently, oh, we'll just move this, right? We don't, they have a better handle of what parts of the
We're
contract
just gonna
go for
listen
their
to them.
services. So
Yeah.
we're gonna give them a chance, to give us a red line, discuss with them to make sure that
Yeah.
we've got all appropriately tied up. So we were talking about trying to meet with them, I guess, was it, no, not next week, was it? It's
The week after.
week after, I think.
So we're gonna
You've already got a
I
time
know
set.
the December meeting, we're probably not gonna have a long meeting, so maybe we'll put on the January meeting for us to
That's
review
perfect.
in action.
That'll give us.
Yeah, we're trying to get it knocked out in time.
One
We
thing
do want
I'll-
to put it on December though.
Okay, yes, we can discuss it if we need to. One thing Sean and I are talking about today, and just for you guys to consider while you're going through this process, is what if we just have one contract with Crossroads that included the gym and included operations? Is there a need, maybe just have that discussion with Crossroads to have two separate contracts?
Yeah,
Just something to think about and get their feedback as well.
okay.
Okay. Let's go on to, so let's go ahead and do 32 and 33, and then we'll go into executive on 5A. So 32, the policy regarding interaction between board members and district contractors. I know you received feedback from 2 directors.
I did.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the policy, and then we can have discussion?
A motion for discussion?
Second?
Second.
Okay, so you can start with discussion, Director Johnson.
Sure. So, in looking at this and, crafting some of the sections, the thought is that we're largely a legislative body. None of us are employed full-time at the district, and, we make the policy and others implement it. The last time we discussed this at length, there were some good points raised about emergency situations. That language has been added in, it's at the bottom of number 2. The idea is certainly not to prevent situations from being resolved, only to funnel things through kind of a central node. Because we don't all know everything, but I certainly don't. But, the idea is that way we can have the GM acting for us as our directives, like tonight, go into the neighborhood.
Okay. So Director Young,
I don't have any comments.
I don't have any comments, I just read number 2, so I'm glad they added that emergency. And then we also, number 7, just said, subject to review by the board of directors, so I think before I left that kind of blank. Director Shoemaker.
Yeah, well, we need to add a number 8, or add it somewhere in here that this in no way constrains board members from seeking legal advice from the attorney.
Oh, that was the point we were supposed to add. Yeah, good point.
I can
Okay,
amend my motion.
to add that, legal language. Okay,
Sure,
Director Shoemaker, anything else?
That's the chief one, I think we need to make sure is in there, because I think, 1, we can't prohibit that anyway, but 2, it needs to be expressly in there that
Okay.
everybody's got a right to get legal advice from. our
Yeah,
attorneys.
no, that, we missed that, sorry. Okay.
And can I, I'm sorry to jump you, should we add language about Lisa? Like, that also wouldn't prevent anyone from speaking to Lisa. Do we need to add that, or?
I think
is
it's,
that a
isn't
different?
that contemplated? I remember reading this one.
I
It's
don't
not the whole
remember.
point of the policy, it's two.
No, but I thought there was a part about they should, board members should talk to the.
Oh, should refer the matter, sorry, yep, it's in there, okay, just wanna make sure.
Yeah, four I read is directing us that if we have issues, we should talk to Lisa, rather than calling like Trip or anybody else. But I think if Sean gives us different legal advice, that's where we need to make sure that's.
Yes, of course.
Okay, Director Roberts.
I think you know how I feel about it. I think this is unnecessary and it certainly handcuffs us as elected officials, but that's why I didn't give any feedback. I won't support this at all.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor?
Well, hold on,
Oh, sorry.
I'd like to make well, David, did you make
He
an amended
amended it.
motion?
I amended it to add
And
that
I'm
number.
the second David's amended
Amended
motion.
motion.
I will vote for it on David's amended motion.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
And I vote no.
Okay, and then, Director Johnson, do you want to talk about the next one? Or,
Well, I just read this one, I would leave it to you.
okay, so first of all, do we have a motion to approve the subcommittee policy?
Sure, I'm looking at the right thing.
Motion, but I think we're probably gonna need to discuss it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, second?
I'll second for discussion.
Okay. So in looking at policies, actually, I found this under Wells Branch's policies, and I thought it was pretty helpful. So that's all the feedback I have. Anyone, Director Shoemaker?
Hold on, I'm looking for something, so if y'all can skip me for a while.
Okay, Director Roberts.
Again, I think it's unnecessary and it's kind of an embarrassment as elected official to be constrained and restrained on certain policies. I think it's getting out of hand. There's a handbook and AWBD has one, and I think it's very clear what our role is. And I don't think this has anything to do with our ability to do something. I think it just restricts us from doing our job.
Can you help me understand what the restriction is in this policy?
Basically, you're just putting more policies on the board continuously, and there's no effect to it. There's nothing you can do. You can't unelect us, and I think it's just absurd.
But this policy doesn't talk about that.
Well, it basically says another policy on the way we should behave.
Well, this one,
Well,
I think this one's focused more on how the subcommittees are assigned. I guess, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I read,
I
I
think
guess,
it's just unnecessary, is what I'm saying. I think it's kind of like, why are we doing all this? We're spending a lot of attorney's time and money to just get policies in place that I think we run very well together. We don't need our hands handcuffed. And
I don't think this really constrains us as a board. I guess, Derek Johnson, the only part I read is it changes anything from what we're currently doing, is that's what I was reading, like, checking about the part of the water meetings, was that
Yeah.
the only thing I read is
Don't we already
changing
know
it.
this?
I think the only thing that changes on this is we're codifying in our policies a process for selecting subcommittee membership,
Can I ask you a question?
which I
Oh,
think
sorry.
previously we did not, and I guess we kind of just, I don't want to say free-for-alled it,
Mhm.
but I feel like we did not have a set way to select subcommittee membership the last time we did it. But I guess, maybe I'm reading this wrong, but I guess I see it essentially as a summation of what happens. So if someone wants to know how we operate with
Well-
subcommittees, it's a summation of what we already do beyond the selection.
Yeah,
Unless,
so like,
Director Johnson, am I misunderstanding? Do you-
just absurd to me.
I didn't write it,
Director
but
Johnson?
yeah, I guess I would be interested to know from somebody at Wells Branch if they find this method helpful. It seems like, because I can kind of see both sides. On the one hand, kind of going in order
Mhm.
means that everyone's at least guaranteed one of their choices,
Mhm.
right? Assuming that they have multiple. But it seems like a less deliberative approach. Because like, for example, if we were to reassign committees right now,
Mhm.
I would want to stay on restrictive covenants because we're doing some stuff that was like almost there.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to be taken off restrictive covenants
Yeah.
right now. In this method, I may be if I'm, if you and David both wanted it, right? So I guess that's just my thought. It seems like a less deliberative approach, right? It's a little less coordination amongst us,
Mhm.
but it would have the advantage of, I mean, protecting people who want certain, you know what I mean? I could be singled out. So I guess that's my observation.
Okay, Director Young?
I don't have any comments.
Okay, so, a policy or a procedure is helpful so that we all understand the framework of the rules, that, you know, as many of you said tonight, the majority of this policy we are doing. But it's always good to have that in writing so that we can refer to that. So, yeah, 90% of this we are already doing.
I've had email communications without including my subcommittee member, and without this, I could have just kept doing it and just ignored my other subcommittee member and kept doing what I was doing. This gives legs to put me on the CC.
Okay,
Is it, I'm sorry.
right, no, go ahead.
I was gonna ask you, so I agree with you about policy. Is the way we assign the subcommittees integral to the policy?
No, we could remove that if that's what you're uncomfortable with, or if you think
Well,
it's not really adding value. But I think the rest of it is important to have down in writing.
Yeah, that's the part that I don't know that there's anything that goes beyond the other one that we did. So I guess, yeah, if,
Did you motion?
I did, so I would need to, I probably will. But, so I guess that's my thought. So maybe, Sean, if I can give you probably a too general motion, to recraft the subcommittee assignments paragraph to reflect what we currently do, the kind of the discussion, instead of the,
A consensus by the board.
yeah, instead of the
Rigorous.
NFL draft pick
Yeah.
method that's.
Well,
that
I
will
guess,
branch us.
I guess, you know, maybe I wouldn't mind some more time, because I guess I will admit it, with everything else going on with services and Freedom of Covenants, I've not given a lot of time to thinking about how we should do this. I would say, I think that actually of all of this, I mean, the other parts are nice for people to refer to, right? If they want to, we want to tell a resident, what's this supposed to do? Here's our page, right? Here's how it works, right? Doing a problem with writing down what we're already doing, people should be able to know, and we should be able to share it with folks. I do think there's some value in having a process, right, written down as far as how subcommittees should be assigned, because anybody who's new to the board then has an idea of the rules that they will be abiding by when they're elected, right? I really need some time to chew on like how we should do it, though. I'm with Director Johnson. I get the sense that if you just say it's deliberative, it's kind of a free-for-all, it's like, oh, it just is whatever they decide is. I get why there might be some heartburn about that, both from a resident end and a member end, but I'm not sure just having it be a straight seniority pick system. I mean, I'll pick on the legislature here for a minute, you know, you've got seniority assignments to committees and you've got speaker assignments, right? Obviously, in this case, we don't have a speaker to assign, but that'd be more of a board member collaborative nature. So we don't have a lot of subcommittees, we do have enough where everybody's kind of got two, or at least got one. So it was like, I'd like some time to chew on that. I mean, we can ask Sean to draft something, but I think we need to
Okay.
seriously give that some thought, because I'd like to leave it in place once we do it.
Yeah, and I'm at one final comment real quick. So I agree with Director Shoemaker. I think rank order is unfair. I think we should do it in a lottery maybe, you know, draw the numbers and then who gets to pick, because otherwise it's the same people picked in the top committees, and I think it's unfair. So.
I will codify. I don't necessarily think that picking in seniority order is unfair. I mean, it's how a lot of bodies do it. I just don't know if we want to assign all seats based on
Yeah, I agree.
seniority.
Yeah, and I think the handbook that you get with AWBD is very clear on some of this too, so I just don't think it's.
Okay, so let's go ahead and bring this back next month. Director Johnson, will you please send over your red line or your edits to Sean if he needs it? Any other directors that have feedback, please send it over to Sean, and we will hopefully have a final draft and vote one way or the other in December, okay? Thank you. Anything under code of ethics, travel, professional policies? Okay.
Did we say executive session for something?
Yes, we're about to do that. Okay, so we're gonna go into executive session to discuss 5A. And no decisions will be made, and we will return in just a minute.
And the purpose for going in executive?
Legal advice.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, are we back on?
Yes.
For sure? Okay, we are out of executive, no decisions were made. I am going to direct our general manager, Lisa, to go ahead and move forward and give me a final inspection on the Madison Skyscape. And you can, what was I gonna say?
Take all subsequent action.
Take all of this. Okay, do you have anything else under legal?
I do not.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
That's the fastest motion we've had all night.
Aye.
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 All right, thanks, everyone. Hey, have a great Thanksgiving, a safe Thanksgiving.
Yes.
You
too.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.